Oh, hey, Decomforted Man here. Convince atheists by using three best theist positions by a channel called Atheist versus Theist. Now, shouldn't it be theist versus atheist because this guy is a theist? So this is kind of I don't even know how big of a dive into this channel, but, well, I mean, going on this video in particular, but it's just, it's just to check it out, it's just to look at what I was dealing with. I look at his, little channel here, and, it's like atheist versus theist. Atheist, it's a place to make the debate more complex based on ideas in academic philosophy, following rules of logic, we'll see about that, and with common sense, real life angle, it attempts to show the debate as it really is. Okay, so I'm sure they're going to have on atheists then, right, to talk to, and not just talk to himself, right? Like, we hope people can get from both sides, can get a benefit, and in theory, we try to present things as best we can from different perspectives, even though when you really get down to it, it requires a conclusion. What a weird paragraph. And the name of the channel was Atheism Gone Wrong, but they decided to change that. So, it's pretty new-ish videos, 17 videos. When was it made? It was made this year, so June, July, just last month. So, man, it didn't take them that long to change the name of the channel, did it? Well, let's see. Are these it? I mean, heck, we might even do every single video here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, where's the other ones? Are they under shorts? Oh, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, it counts the shorts as separate videos. I'm not going to cover the shorts. So, what came before God? God is a bad concept. Did we survive death? Oh, look, it seems like it's just this guy talking, and I don't see any atheists that he's talking to. So he's talking about atheists. So the premise of the channel doesn't seem to be consistent, but he's only been around for a month, so we'll see. And he's got a new video here just 18 hours ago. Well, we'll check that out as well. And so, I'll check it. We will check it out together. I will tell what fallacies are being used because, remember, he said rules of logic. Kind of a weird way to put that. So you're trying to cover both sides. He says, the last video he talked about what atheism is or the position of atheism. So that might be worth checking out too. It was top 10 arguments, atheist. What? Okay, is that that's the whatever. Okay. So, all right, let's check it out.
What the outside looks like. Today, this video is going to be about 3 theist arguments. Last episode was about understanding why atheists don't believe, but this.
All right, so last episode was understanding why atheists believe, and like I said, it might be worth looking into. It's very simple, dude. We don't have evidence. That's it.
This episode is going to be about providing 3 theist arguments. These are arguments I feel.
Wait. Okay, so instead of providing evidence, we're just going to give arguments. Cool.
Like are more organic and are going to work better when you're trying to discuss something with an atheist.
They're more organic and going to work better. I'd prefer if they were valid and sound myself, because that's all that matters when giving an argumentation. But, sure, they're organic. Okay, that's nice. Are they going to be sound?
So if you're just trying to argue with them, these aren't the best. If you're just trying to shut down, these aren't the best. But
wait, what?
if you want to teach somebody something or let people know what you really believe, these are good, rational arguments for theism. And
well, which version of theism? Well, your version, right? But see, the thing is, you're just calling yourself a theist. That doesn't tell us anything. What type of theist are you? Probably Christian. I'm gonna assume.
I'm about to tell you what those three are, and I'm going to end with the best one.
Okay.
So the first one is, when you look at the universe, it's
look at the
actually strangely
trees.
empty. And when you talk to scientists, they can't help but admit this. Given everything we know about life, there should be some stuff going on. When people joke about aliens abducting people,
well, not everybody jokes about that. Some people are very serious that they have been abducted and or know that people have been abducted. Some people really believe that that's true. But what is this? The Fermi paradox? I mean, we haven't even explored 1% of space yet. So,
and probing them and doing all these things, that actually should be happening. When you think about how many planets should be habitable in the universe, the way the scientists explain it, and then given the variation in the technology, which means some civilizations should be around where we are, maybe, but most are going to be a lot further advanced. We're actually in some kind of infancy when you look at the growth of technology, which.
okay, so kind of talking about the Fermi paradox to some degree. The universe is really big. Okay, even our galaxy is stupidly big. Let's see, what's the nearest star? Is the nearest star to us? Let's see. Okay, so Proxima Centauri is 4.2 some odd light years away. So it would take 4 point. How long would that take to get? Jeez. It requires math. I don't do math. How long would it take at light speed to get to? Okay, so yeah, all right. Just wanted to check. Okay, for 4.2. So yeah, it would take 4 years to get there if you were going the speed of light. If you were going, and well, okay, their technology is such that they can. Okay, cool. But how would they know to come here? They'd have to have seen our planet. And so, well, but their technology is really good, so they've explored more of the universe than we have. So they know that, we're here, and why haven't they showed up? And yeah, it's like, I mean, but it's okay. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they did check us out and were like, these people are crazy. We're not going to mess with them. I don't know. I'm not really sure what this argument is. So I don't know where the aliens are. Okay.
Means in the past 100 years, in the past 10 years, we've seen technology grow at a much higher rate than it has in the past. Given that, we're at the beginning. So that's logically the beginning. And if that's logically the beginning, then most civilizations are going to have higher technology.
Well, that's not a conclusion that you can draw. Well, first, you don't even know that there is any civilization out there, nor in what type of developmental stage they're in or how far they are from us. There's no way to know. So this is pure speculation. So, okay, not sure how this argues for God, but okay, I'm waiting. This isn't a good argument so far because it's based on speculation. Look how empty space is. man, there should be some aliens or stuff, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. I mean, maybe, I guess. Where are the aliens? I don't know. All right, cool. All right.
There's just not a lot of sentient, cognitive, conscious beings out there that
Yeah.
would be way back where we are, where we haven't even improved the toilet. It's a hole in the ground still. So my point is,
wait, what do you want to do to improve the toilet? You want it like one that kind of straps to your rear end and like automatically empties your bowels for you or something? I mean, what are you looking for there? Oh, whatever.
the world is empty. Given what we know, we should have aliens visiting, I don't know, every Tuesday.
Based on what? Okay, whatever.
We should be able to spot them with these telescopes that look into other solar systems and potentially other galaxies. I don't know. I'm not a cosmologist.
Yeah.
A cosmetologist or whatever.
Cosmetologist? It's cosmologist, you nitwit. No, you're not. So why you just saying stuff that okay, it's one thing to speculate. That's fine. But you're saying this stuff as if it's real and true. So you're not really, and you're framing this like it's a casual conversation that you're having with somebody, right? So I'm sitting there and we're talking, and you're like, hey, where are all the aliens at? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Why haven't they visited us like every Tuesday? I don't know. Why? What does this have to do with anything? And I'm just like so confused by this weird conversation. And so I'm waiting for where it goes. I'm okay. So
it's called, and I don't care. I don't get my stuff right. It just doesn't happen. What I'm telling you is the world's.
But wait. Okay, look, I'm live right now, so this is unedited, right? So I get stuff wrong, whatever. You're recording a video. There's no reason you couldn't like re-record that segment or script it or whatever.
It's empty. That's not me doing it. That's a fact. And it shouldn't be this empty.
Well, how do you know how empty it should or shouldn't be?
Is one explanation that it is more man-focused, that it is more focused on what's going on here on Earth. And that.
Okay, so the erroneous conclusion that I don't see aliens is it must be focused on lobsters. Now, actually, you know what? I'm going to go with a different approach. I know I do lobsters all the time. Chickens. I'm going to go with chickens. There's more chickens than anything else in the world. It must be focused on the chickens. There's more chicken. There's millions of chickens. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the most big. How many chickens are there? How many chickens are in the world? Let's see. Come on. 26.56 billion chickens. 26 billion, almost 27 billion chickens in the world. And it's been increasing. So there's probably more. That's a lot of chickens. So this world must be made for the chickens, right? It must be chicken-based. Because we don't see chickens anywhere else in the universe. We just see a whole bunch of chickens here. So it must be chicken-based, right? Or is that an erroneous conclusion based on absolute nothing? So you're focused not on the chickens, but instead on humans. By the way, we're also out. Okay, the chickens are our fault. They're humans' fault. Okay, cool. How about insects? More insects than us. So why wouldn't it be insect-based? Hell, forget that. Bacteria. There are more bacteria than there are anything, I'm pretty sure. So shouldn't it be that bacteria are the focus then? That's why this world exists, is the bacteria. But it didn't always have bacteria. I mean, you go back in the past far enough and there wasn't life at all. So what was the point of the world before there was life? There wasn't one until life came along. Then it had a point. But you're now assuming that the world was made for life. Well, why didn't it have life immediately and instantly? Why did it take so long? 4.54 billion years, took what, first billion or so to get going, maybe? I don't know, million? No, billion. I'm right. Whatever. Took a while for the Earth to get life. However long. We're not sure. So, I okay. So you're like, oh, maybe instead of, oh, look how empty the universe is. And I'm like, all right, sure. I mean, not really, but we've looked at less than 1% of it, and we haven't found, evidence of life. We're still looking. Well, where are all the aliens? I don't know. Maybe they're wondering the same thing. Well, shouldn't they have the technology to find us? I don't know. Maybe not. Well, shouldn't we be visited all the time? I don't know. Hey, doesn't that make it seem like the whole world is based on man? What? Yeah, doesn't it make what? Wait, no, wait, what? No, what are you talking about? None of that followed. None of that flowed. This isn't in a syllogism either, so there's no validness here, so we can't have it be a sound argument. So the whole following the rules of logic thing is out the window here, okay? That's not even on the table at this point. So at best, this would be an essay-style argumentation, which could follow the rules of logic. There you would have a thesis statement, the thesis statement being like, the planet appears made for humans because, supporting paragraph, space is empty and no aliens have visited us. Not a very good essay. Not really a supporting paragraph of the first statement. So it has failed in both potential formats that it could fail on a logical level. And on a casual conversational level, I would just be like, okay, bro, good luck with that. Bye. See you later. You're not getting any further than that with me or any other atheist that I know. So we're just going to laugh at you and mock you for your stupidity and your bad argument. And we're done. We're not even going to get to God because we're too busy laughing at you for this crap conclusion you have.
That this is something unique. And the way the natural world is explained, this shouldn't be this unique. That's really the conclusion. Number 2, I got my notes right here. The fact we haven't blown each other up with nukes. What does that even mean? Like,
what? The fact that we haven't blown up each other with nukes. You know what? That reminds me of something. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. Yes. Okay. So this is Carl Sagan, and it's relevant. So I'm pretty sure I can play it here. I don't know. Pardon. Oh, okay. All right. Here we go.
Given all these demotions, what is your personal religion, or is there any type of God to you? Like, is there a purpose, given that we're just sitting on this speck in the middle of this sea of stars?
No, I don't want to duck any questions. And I'm not going to duck this one, even though I have high religious personages who are close friends of mine in this room. But let me ask you, what do you mean when you use the word God?
Well, I guess what my question, it's like, is there a purpose for, I mean, given all these demotions, why don't we just blow ourselves up?
See, there you go. Why don't we just blow ourselves up? He's asking the same question, right? I mean, that's why I brought up the video. It made me think of that. It's like, what, we have all these nukes. Why don't we just blow ourselves up? Here's this kid asking Sagan back in the day. Now this guy's grown up, old by now. So I wonder where this guy that asked the question is today. That's it, you know. But anyways, well, Sagan's going to give an interesting response, and this is actually, I mean, I don't need to give a response. This is the best response that I know of to give to this sort of question.
Why
It's
don't
like,
we?
Yeah, what is our purpose? I mean,
Let me turn the question around. If we do blow ourselves up, does that disprove the existence of God?
There you go. So if we did blow ourselves up with nukes, does that disprove God? There you go. That's the best answer to this weird ass question that I know of. I guess I should say it's a really damn good answer. Now we don't answering questions with questions is sometimes annoying, frustrating, and can be, you know, facetious, can't say that word, can be fallacious and, you know, whatever. But in this case, it's a damn good question. Okay, so if we did blow it up each other with nukes, does that mean there isn't a God? Because I'm not sure. What does this question have to do with God? We don't want to die, broadly speaking. That's why we don't nuke somebody else, because they will nuke us, or somebody else will. And we might anyways, and that's kind of scary. So, you know, anyways, so there's that. Okay.
How do you understand how humans act in every other walk of life? And then you give them these bombs that can immediately win wars. They've been in wars ever since it was invented in 1944, 1945. We've had wars every year somewhere. Obviously, we have 10 going on right now. No one's ever nuked anybody. Other than those first 2 nukes dropped on Japan, never been another nuke used in a war. No rogue country. The United States didn't do it for the same reasons as World War II, to stop a war that's going to end up killing more people than the nuke did. There wasn't even pragmatic usage, which means measuring the cost-benefit analysis and it really being commonsensical to use it at that point. Nothing, no nukes. We've got these nukes. We've got everyone pissed off. We've got warfare everywhere. No one's used to nuke. Why is that? Just from the...
What? Because mutual assured destruction is a no-win scenario. The only winning move is not to play. Haven't you seen the movie War Games? Go watch the movie War Games. That's the answer to that. What does that have to do with God? Boy, this is not a good argument. So the first non-argument that you're supposed to have as a theist in a casual conversation with an atheist, you know, is, hey, no aliens. Huh? What? Yeah, no aliens. Okay. God, huh? That means there's a God because there's no aliens. What? So if there was aliens, there wouldn't be a God? Oh, no. If there was aliens, that'd be proof of God. Because look at all the life. You know, how else would you prove it other than God? What? What about the fact we haven't nuked ourselves? What are you talking about? Yeah, we haven't done that. Okay. Yeah, so therefore God. What? What the hell? What is this? Why? This is the worst thing ever. This is the dumbest. This is nothing. What? All right, anyways, we're going to keep going because it's great. I love it.
Outside. Don't overanalyze this. I'm an expert.
Don't overanalyze it.
Don't
overanalyze it.
While you're watching, I could underanalyze a popsicle.
What?
So the point is, when you look at the world in terms of military, warfare, conflict globally, when you look at these things, there's actually a term for it, geopolitics, I think. I don't even know what that means. The point is,
he doesn't know what geopolitics means. What? I have to look it up. What the hell's wrong? What is this? What am I listening to? What the bleep?
No one's used a nuke. It's not that hard to grasp.
So what?
It happened.
What?
There should have been accidents. There should have been problems.
There have been accidents and problems. Don't you know history? history guy, history that deserves to be remembered, has a few videos talking about the times that they dropped a nuke by accident, and thankfully it didn't go off, because a nuclear bomb, you can drop it to the ground and it will land on the ground, it will get dented, and it won't explode, because certain conditions must be met for it to explode. Now, that's not saying it's a good idea to shuck out nuke bombs out of planes all the time just to see what would happen, but unless you arm the device, it will not go off, thankfully. But there's been accidents, and there's been damn near misses. This thing called, what was it, the Cuban crisis? You might have heard about it in history. I don't know. But this guy doesn't know what anything is, I guess. Oh my God, this is terrible. These are your good arguments? These are things arguing for the theist position somehow? What the?
There isn't enough problems associated with the rise of the nuclear weapon in whatever form, whether it's this large ballistic missile, whether it's a tactical missile.
What?
Nothing. Zero. And I'm not saying knock on wood. I hope no one uses it. That's not my point. I think we should end all these stupid wars for nothing because they're dumb. The point is nukes. That was really sophisticated.
The point is nukes.
No one's used to nuke. That's a pretty powerful argument when you look at it rationally, when you separate it from the scientific scientism that overanalyzes everything. You don't need to.
No need to overanalyze it. No need to analyze anything at all. No need to actually think about what you're saying. In other words, don't think about it. Well, now there's your argument for theism. Just don't think about it. Just believe what I tell you because just read The Lobsterist or have it read to you by Captive Desk and just believe it. There you go. Don't analyze it. Don't think about it. Definitely don't think about it too much. Don't listen to those pesky scientists, doing scientism. No, just believe me. Look, the trusty ape, he currently owes me $20,000. I know. Amazing, isn't it? It's really, I've been like, hey, man, where's my money? Where's my money, man? And he's like, I don't actually owe you any money. And I'm like, yeah, you do. Believe me, bro. And, Tilting Windmills over there, and he's like, you're just saying that he owes you money. And I'm like, hey, Tilting, don't get in on this. You still owe me $500 too. And Tilting's like, what? I'm like, just believe me, bro. Don't overanalyze it. Don't use scientism and logic. Just believe, come on, guys. There's no aliens, obviously. That means and we haven't nuked ourselves. So obviously that means you owe me money. Come on, guys. Come on, give me money. All right. I got $10,500. That's a big amount of money. Be reasonable, Deacon Vermin. Okay, $1. They both owe me $1. No, they don't owe me any money. Of course they don't owe me any money. Because hey, pal, could you? It's a parable in the Bible. Yes, exactly. B.S. Lewis. Don't you know Corinthians 29:69? It says, and then the trusty ape doth owe deconverted man $10,000. Well, it said shekels. Oh, God, wait. You know what? I'm sorry. Hold on. What is a shekel anyways? Shekel to American dollar. All right. I'm sorry. I got to look this up. Okay, point 30. So how much? Okay, 1 million shekel to American dollars would be okay, it's not $1 million. It's whatever that number is. It's this. It's that number right here. Here we go. It's that. What the hell is this number? That's what it is. 299 $1,537.60. Okay. Still, a lot of money. That's what he owes me. Everybody knows it. We all just, don't question it. Don't. Okay, we got the point. Is the joke dead yet? Should I move on? Yeah, I should probably move on. Wait, just one more. No, okay.
Overanalyze it. No one's used it. Except those two, nothing. How? Something's keeping us from doing it, or there's some force, or there's some fated situation. I'm not saying I believe any of this stuff. What I'm telling you.
Wait, you're not believing any of this stuff? Then why are you bringing it up?
These are the arguments. That's number 2. Best argument. Number 3. There's a lot of stuff we don't know. There's a lot of serious, real stuff that we don't know. Philosophy was hijacked by science, called scientism, in 1745, approximately. And scientists have run amok.
What?
Do you see Bandit back there? Because I see him in the camera. I don't know.
What are you talking about?
I've got all these chupacabras in the backyard. Some of them are about 2,000 pounds.
What?
If they see him, they're going to eat him. So if you see a giant animal behind me, let me know. This is not live, but good luck. There's so many unknown things, like why there's chupacabras in my yard.
What?
The number one thing we don't understand, consciousness. What is it? And the scientists love to tell you it's just purely atoms. That's a terrible argument. It's terrible. This is where you...
Just purely atoms? Really? The scientists just tell you that it's just atoms. Really? The scientists, you say? Oh, please do tell me. What scientist would that be that have ever said consciousness is just atoms? I don't know what you're... Yeah, I'm sure that there's a book or something called that. The scientist tells you there's just atoms. Hold on a moment. I got to put on my face cam here because you got to... I mean, I should have had it on this whole time, but I didn't because, I don't know. No reason, I guess. Yeah. All right. Okay. So the scientists say it's just atoms. Of course they do. Of course, those pesky scientists just saying stuff. Yeah. Do we understand consciousness? No. But also, it's just atoms. Wait, what? No, we don't understand consciousness at all. But it's just atoms. How do you know that? What do you mean? Well, you said we don't understand it. That's right. But then you said it's just atoms. Uh-huh. How do you know it's just atoms if we don't understand it? We're scientists. Oh, okay. What? What?
Atheist. There is no way. Even David Hume, who invented this, went back on it. He said, I can't explain my experiences in life as a self, as a entity, as a being experiencing a continuous self, which really just means a conscious entity. All this stuff revolves around consciousness.
Okay.
Consciousness is the mind that you have separated from the physical brain. Physical brain is an organ that you look at. No. Granted. The mind is something else.
Okay. Now, that's a statement about reality that you've just made. And because you've said something is true, you now have the burden of proof to demonstrate that the mind is separate from the brain. How are you going to do that? You can't just say it is. You need to demonstrate it. So dualism is what this is. It's substance dualism. And it's the idea that your mind is somehow separate from your brain. It's a soul or a spirit or what have you. And there's no way to demonstrate that it's true. If your brain or somebody's brain is injured, the personality of that person can be affected. Not always, but sometimes. Depends on which part is injured and how badly. Okay. There's been many cases of this. There was an extreme case one time where I'm sure you've heard the thing. I can put a link for it, but the guy got a railroad spike through his head, and they were able to take it out, and he lived. And he was a completely different person. He was a real jerk after that. I mean, can't blame him. You get a spike through your head, you might be a little bit spiteful after that. But he wasn't the same person anymore. He was a very different person, and everybody noticed that. Nobody liked him after that. Like, they liked him before. He was a nice person before, but after, he was a total jerk. So, where is his mind in this? If it's separate, we don't see any evidence of it being separate. Now, what tends to happen is that an analogy will be made. One I've heard that's common, or I don't know how common it is, but one I've heard or read is something like your brain is sort of like a radio, and it's receiving the transmissions from the radio tower. And the radio tower here is your mind, which is separate from your brain. And I'm like, well, okay, but we can detect radio transmissions. So can we detect the thing transmitting to my brain? No, we can't. So we don't know that that's what it is. What we do know is that the brain produces this thing that we call consciousness. And what is the mind is just another word for consciousness, really. It's just another terminology that we invented. I don't see a significant difference between brain, mind. I don't know. I guess mind we're assuming that you're talking about something alive, because you're talking about a brain in a jar. Well, that brain is dead, so there's no mind there anymore. So you'd be like, hey, get that brain for me. You wouldn't be like, hey, get that mind for me, right? So, here's a Scientific American article on what consciousness is, and it's just everything you experience. It's sometimes referred to as qualia. It's mystery, but there's some stuff that we know. And so there is information about it to some extent. So here is the I don't know X, therefore Z, which is an appeal to ignorance fallacy. It is I don't understand, or it is not understood, therefore something else is true. Our non-understanding of any given phenomenon doesn't mean that your unjustified, unproven conclusion is correct. You're saying that there's a mind separate from consciousness, or separate from the brain. It's just a belief that you have, and you would need to demonstrate that to be true somehow. And until you do, we should just discard your conclusion, because you have nothing to stand on at all.
We don't understand it at all, and we pretend that we do. That pretending, that scientism, is what really gives us the ammunition against non-believers. I'm not saying it proves your point. That's the point logically and rationally in philosophy. Because you disprove them doesn't mean you can automatically prove you. But you do have to have conversations, and you do have to demonstrate that your position is viable, which means when the atheist says consciousness is explained by atoms, you can roll your eyes all you want, because that's what I'm doing. But it's clear we don't know. It's clear that when we talk about it, we get the two things confused: mind, body.
It's clear that you are getting those things confused. Mind, brain, brain in head, brain, head, body connected together. These are things that work together. I know it is very confusing for you. Maybe you should learn about these things rather than just talking about them. You've already admitted to not knowing many things in this video, and yet you speak on them anyways. Now, it's fine, that's fine, but why not be educated then? Why not learn some things so that you can speak with some proficiency on these subjects? Like I know a little bit about cosmology, but I just learned recently, like, hey, there might be a before in the Big Bang stuff. And I'm like, what? And the guy's like, yeah, scientists are like talking about this. And I'm like, but there was no before in the Big Bang cosmology. And he's like, nah, the scientists are like, maybe it is. And I'm like, oh, no, but I'm used to believing that. Oh, wait, I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing that I'm not supposed to do. Hey, if that's where the data is going, okay, so be it. Because science changes and adapts to new understandings. So that scientists are debating this and saying, maybe there is a before the Big Bang. Cool. How does that work? I don't know. Let me hear what they have to say. And then they said words that I don't understand, but I listened to them anyways, and I was like, okay. All right. Yeah, it's in my head. I don't know that I understand it, but I mean, at least I tried to, participate to some degree. The point being that the idea that I once held has been changed because we have learned and are learning more about reality as we progress forward, and that's fine. I'm okay with accepting that the idea that I did hold, that there was no before the Big Bang, could be wrong. That no, scientists don't all agree with this idea. Not even a majority anymore. It was at some point, but that has changed over time. And so that's really interesting. And I'm like, cool, neat, moving on. But all you're doing is saying, well, I don't understand this. I don't believe the scientific view, and I'm going to pretend like I do understand it. And when you say Adam's explaining, I'm just going to roll my eyes at you. I'm not going to offer a rebuttal. I'm not going to ask for an explanation. I'm not going to ask you how you know that's true. I'm not going to ask you for data. I'm not going to ask you for any evidence. I'm just going to roll my eyes because that's how I respond to things that I don't know how to respond to. Well, you can roll your eyes all you want, but maybe instead of doing that, you could learn stuff. Just an idea. These are his 3 best arguments for God. They're not even an argument for God. They're not even arguments. These are nothing. This is nothing. Are you kidding me? All right, almost done.
Consciousness, brain. We get those things confused. What
No.
consciousness does,
You get
active, fluid, unknown, intuitive almost, seamless, originating concept.
What the hell are you talking about?
It is our subjective experience, but
Yeah.
it can also be argued for objectively, which is merely to say in common sense, all people experience it. When you look at that, and then...
Hold on. No, not all people experience consciousness. They're usually dead. But no, also not all living humans experience consciousness. And I don't know why we're focused on humans only, but yeah, there are some babies born with congenital condition where some of their brain is missing and their head is kind of like caved in. I forget the name offhand. I'd have to look it up, but they don't last very long, but they do live a while. But they're probably not conscious, or at least not in any meaningful way. Then there are a few people, thankfully rare, that are born with just a brain stem, and they typically don't last very long at all. Maybe a week, maybe longer. but we're pretty sure they don't experience consciousness at all. We don't know for sure, but they can still breathe and eat and poo. There's a lot of automatic functions built into the brainstem, but consciousness doesn't appear to be one of those functions. You need a brain to have it. So if you don't got a brain, you don't got it. So there are some humans that are born without the ability to be conscious, and they don't live for very long because usually they have other issues as well. But also, like, not to be cruel sounding, but I'm not really, like, would you want them to live a life? I mean, what kind of life are they really going to live? It's really, what would you do with that? Yeesh. Probably hand it over to the state to take care of. And, they'd be fed by people and just taking care of their entire life. And they would never be able to do anything. They would be a baby forever, basically, even though they grow up and mature and age. They would never be able to speak or understand, communicate. They're just there. That's a horror film there, but it's real. Like, that could happen. Now, I would say put them out of their misery. Not that they experience anything, but just terminate their life. It's not a life at that point. There's nothing to live. They're just alive. But that's my point of view. I don't know. I'm not, not the people that are the parents of that hypothetical person. Like I said, usually babies born in this way die from other issues and complications. But I imagine if there was one that lived and kept on living, that the parents would not continue to raise it at some point, or maybe they would. I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard about it, but I suppose it's possible. But my God, that would be so brutal, so difficult to do, beyond my ability. But maybe they're better people than me. I don't know. Anyways, I know it's a big tangent from whatever the hell the point of this thing was. But, oh, right, that people experience consciousness. That's what the point was. No, they don't. So, anyways.
And you look at the atoms moving around in the brain, there's no comparison. And scientists do one simple thing: correlate brain activity with self-reported consciousness. I'm thinking this lights up. That's a terrible correlation in.
No, it's not a terrible correlation. I don't think you understand association correlation. Anybody that fails to understand a correlation and association will eventually die.
Terms of what consciousness is and where it is. It's a great correlation because it probably is happening. The repetition.
It is happening.
The science involved. It's clearly true that that correlation holds for activity, but it doesn't tell you that consciousness is there.
Yes, it absolutely does tell us what parts of the brain are more active during certain activities, and that tells us where consciousness. Well, consciousness is everywhere. Okay, it everywhere is consciousness in your brain, but there's certain sectors that are in charge of different actions. So when you think words in your head, if you can, because not everybody can think in the same way, by the way, but if you're able to think out loud in your head, like my voice that I'm projecting right now, I can hear my own voice as if I am talking in my head without talking out loud. Okay, I just had to do it just to hear it. And it feels to me, like it's in the middle of my head, but it's not. It's not in the middle of my brain. I don't know where it is, but it's not there. Like, where it is harder to pin down than that. But, again, if I got an active brain scan while I was thinking and all that, then we could see what was lighting up while I was actively talking out loud in my head. And that would be really cool. And it does tell us something. And also they've done these things where they can like say, hey, go try to get that cup there. And before you even move your arm, they can see that you're going to move your arm. So your subconscious has to do stuff that makes it that your mind moves the arm. Now, I asked Answers in Atheism, Mike, about brain stuff. We had a whole discussion on it. Link will be in the video if I remember to do so. Brain Answers in Atheism. Right. Okay. I just quick note to myself to remember to do that. So, and I asked questions like, well, now he didn't answer the questions, and maybe there isn't an answer, not an answer we know. Before I think about moving my arm, how do I know that I want to do that? Like, how does that work? Like, I don't know. I want to know. I want to understand it, but like, I want to move my finger. So I'm doing that, but I'm not really like, I'm not saying in my head, move finger in a way that I can detect. It's just happening, and that's kind of cool. But it also is like, well, why is it doing that? Like, how does my brain know that I want to do that? And what started that process? I have no idea. But on a supernatural, spiritual level, like, how does my spirit or soul or mind know to tell my brain to tell my finger to do this? There's nothing there to explore. There is something to explore if you wire me up and wire up my head and wire up my finger, where you could see lights going on, you could see what's going on with the finger. And they've done this to the point where now they're making prosthetics that can work on your brain telling your hand to move, because people experience phantom hands when they're missing arms sometimes. And so they are using that and what we understand about the brain to make it where now we have a mechanical hand that will do exactly what the person wants it to do. And that's pretty amazing. They're working on it. I don't think they've completed it. It's not all the way there, but that's the goal. Usually it's specific training that is going on where it's biofeedback, where you meditate and you get, you have to like think a little bit higher or lower frequency, and you can move a thing left or right. That's very primitive control of machines with mind. And they're trying to advance it to where, looking at neurology, looking at where in the brain lights up when you're moving your hand, to mimic that mechanically, translate the what's going on in here to signals that would then tell the robotic hand to move. So that is bloody amazing that we are figuring that out, which means at some point within our lifetimes, it's highly conceivable that we'll have answered these questions about consciousness. And bro here is going to fold his arms and be like, well, but you didn't explain it, because he doesn't care about the explanation. He doesn't really want the explanation. He doesn't really need the explanation, because he's already decided that he is right, that it is a mind and it's disconnected from the brain. And, oh, but that didn't explain it. That's just scientism. You've hijacked philosophy or whatever nonsense. And we know, and well, we can guess that, let's say tomorrow they figured it out. Let's say there's a paper published and it gets worldwide coverage. They win Nobel Prizes. Everybody's talking about it. And this guy comes, he's like, well, you all heard that they proved consciousness yesterday, but that doesn't mean that they actually proved consciousness. It's just scientism. It wouldn't matter to him. It wouldn't matter, okay? Nitwits are going to believe the thing that they want to believe, regardless of the evidence. And I think this guy is indeed a nitwit, and also he doesn't have any arguments. So, but we're almost done, and yeah.
In the brain, it doesn't tell you that consciousness is merely atoms. In fact, it doesn't tell you what consciousness is at all. And remember this.
Consciousness is nothing but bioelectrical impulses in the brain. It's an emergent property of that. That's what consciousness is. If you want to say it's more than that, you're going to have to prove it.
Your hero, Isaac Newton, said about gravity, I can tell you what it looks like. I can give you some rules. I can tell you what it does.
My hero? He is not my hero, dude. You don't know who my heroes are. Why are you telling me things? Okay, whatever.
Tell you what it is at all.
Uh-huh.
I can't tell you a thing because that is the unknown aspect.
Uh-huh.
And as a scientist, I owe it to you to be honest. That's
right.
Newton, not me. Right?
Yeah.
So
okay. Okay, wait. So Newton noted as a scientist to be honest, not you. So you saying that you don't owe us honesty? Is that what he's saying? Nah. That's a very uncharitable interpretation of what he said. But I'm going to make it anyways because it's funnier.
To what Thomas Reed said, who was a religious person in the 18th century who fought against this scientism. Those are your three arguments. Let me sum them up really quick for you. The world is empty, strangely empty. Don't have any nuclear weapon applications used since World War II. Man has not blown himself up like we thought he was going to. Simply put, 1950s, everyone's peeing their pants. And now, well, it's even worse, but we're still in that same situation. Now, tomorrow they might use one of my arguments dead. But right now, man hasn't blown himself up, and he should have. That's the key. That was number 2. Number 3, there's a lot of unknowns. Focus on consciousness and free will. What is this business of consciousness that gives us a self, that makes us who we are, that allows us to be free and different and truly cognitive and conscious in that sense? What is that unknown? Focus on those 3 things, talk about them, and there's your position. Thanks for watching.
Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh boy. Should we look at another video of his? I mean, it was supposed to be a mid-sized dive into his channel, not just a single video. But I wound up looking at just one video and laughing at it. Sometimes that's all you can do, I guess. I mean, what else can be said? Dare I look at his video where he explained why atheists don't believe in God? I bet it's full of straw man and bad arguments. If these are the best arguments he thinks that there are, then, empty. YouTube keeps rejecting my comment. What the bleep, YouTube? Do what I want. It's my channel. If I want to spam my own channel, I should be allowed to spam my own channel. Why can't I put the comment I want to put in the chat? Fine, I'll put it in chat over here. Let's see you prevent it over here. It didn't prevent it over there. Screw you, SteamYard. All right. Anyway, I don't know, man. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, empty world. We haven't nuked ourselves, and we don't understand stuff. Therefore, God. And he's telling people to make these arguments. No, don't make these arguments ever. They're not even arguments. These are dumb. They won't convince anybody of anything other than you're just an idiot who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. And why is it that apologists do this thing where they're like, just copy and paste what I said? Matt Slick did this way back in the day with Karm Harm. Where he was like, just copy and paste everything here. And when I challenged that, he's like, oh, well, we'll change that. Thank you so much, and all that. And he did. So I looked at it again, and it was still crap, but it was different crap. But he did get rid of the part where he said copy and paste it. So that was something. So I guess that's a minor victory of some sort. But yeah, these are all appeals to ignorance. 3 of them in a row. We don't know why aliens don't visit us. We don't know why people haven't nuked themselves. We don't know how things work. Therefore, that means God, I guess. Which God and which theism, we don't know because he never bothered to tell us. So that's a problem too, because now I am free to insert my own theology, which is, of course, yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard somebody say lobsterism through my screen just now. So if you haven't converted to lobsterism, come on, bro. Hey, Tilting Windmill, and where's the other guy I was saying owed me money? Trusty Ape. Couldn't think of, my brain turned off for a second there. Both you guys owe me money, right? We've established that. So both of you, if you don't want to owe me any money anymore, become a lobsterist. Then you won't owe me any money at all. You will owe the lobster original deity money, but not me. But to get that money to the lobster original deity, you have to give me the money. But trust me, bro, I'll totally give it to the lobster original deity. Now you might say, how are you going to do that, Deconverted Man? That's a really good question that you've asked. So, what did we have in this video from this Atheist versus Theist channel? Did we have both sides represented? No, we had one side badly misrepresented, in no way coherent, where he was telling other theists how to argue with atheists in a way that the atheists would just laugh their head off at them. And none of this proves any particular theology or any particular God. So, And if he winds up watching this entire video, then he'll have to do the secret bonus comment to prove that he did, which is okay, Tilting, you don't owe me any money anymore. Okay. All right. What's the secret comment? Come on, somebody give me something. Captive Desk is a lobsterist. There you go. There's the bonus secret comment. So if he posts that, we'll know he listened, or we'll know that he fast forwarded to this part. Or maybe he'll read your comments where you're like, Captive Desk is a lobsterist, and then you'll ruin my whole idea. But whatever. I don't know what happens anyways. I'm broke. Well, I mean, when you give everything to Laud, that's, don't worry though. You'll get your reward later on in a way that can be unverified. So thanks for listening. We have no empirical evidence, no repeatable test, no argument, let alone valid or sound argument. The 3 worst things that I think I've ever heard ever from any human, and I've been doing this a long time. But at least it was entertaining. Did we learn anything? No. So, oh well. See you next time. What am I going to cover next time, producer? Politics? No, I'd have to be completely stupid or moronic to ever cover politics. Why would I ever do that? That'd be like the stupidest thing I'd ever do. I'm not going to cover politics. What's that? I did? No, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, until next time. Bye. Yay. Oh, man. Okay. Aliens. Sure. Why? I mean, aliens haven't nuked each other. Therefore, we don't understand consciousness.